Morning from Washington. It's Friday, September 21st, 2012. This is the Daily Rundown. I'm Chuck Todd. Let's get right to my first reads of the morning. Mitt Romney's week started with a plan for new ads and a newly focused message. That plan quickly went out the window. After a hectic week, all the sound and fury boils down to more missed opportunities for the Romney campaign less than 7 weeks before Election Day. Republicans are seizing on comments the president made Thursday at a Spanish-language forum on his biggest failure in office. At first, the president said immigration, and then he added this.
Obviously, the fact that we haven't been able to change the tone in Washington is disappointing. I've learned some lessons over the last 4 years. And the most important lesson I've learned is that you can't change Washington from the inside. You can only change it from the outside.
The Romney campaign in this news cycle chase that they're in jumped on those comments, and Romney had this unscripted riff in Sarasota.
The president today threw in the white flag of surrender again. He said he can't change Washington from inside. He can only change it from outside. Well, we're going to give him that chance in November. He's going outside.
It was a fired-up Romney there, but Democrats are eager to note Romney said something similar back in 2007.
I believe that at this time, to change Washington, it would be helpful to have somebody who comes with more private sector skill, experience outside Washington. I don't think you change Washington from the inside. I think you change it from the outside.
Of course, he was running against an insider, John McCain. The question, though, with Washington so unpopular, who would argue you can change it from the inside? Meanwhile, Democrats continue to hammer Romney over the 47% comment. President Obama even worked in a dig himself yesterday.
When you express an attitude that half the country considers itself victims, that somehow they want to be dependent on government, my thinking is maybe you haven't gotten around a lot.
Today, as the president and Paul Ryan prepare to speak to the AARP in New Orleans, the Obama campaign continues to press that message in a campaign video, this one pegged to seniors. The president was on the defensive about his record, though, by the way, specifically on the issue of immigration. He was pressed hard by Jorge Ramos.
A promise is a promise, and with all due respect, but you didn't keep that promise.
I am happy to take responsibility for the fact that we didn't get it done, but I did not make a promise that I would get everything done 100% when I was elected as president.
Still, this week has been dominated by tough criticism from Republicans about the Romney campaign, and it's been something they haven't been able to shake. Yesterday in Iowa, Ann Romney spoke out for the first time with a message for Republican critics.
What do you say to your fellow Republicans who are...
Stop it. This is hard. You want to try it? Get in the ring. This is hard.
Well, now there's new evidence that a month of missed opportunities has taken a toll on the Romney campaign, and the electoral map is shifting. In NBC's first battleground map since the conventions and a slew of state polling that we've done and others have done, President Obama has slightly expanded his electoral vote lead over Romney. It's now 243 electoral votes in the Obama column, 191 in Romney's, 104 still up for grabs. The change we made? Iowa, which we moved out of the toss-up column in lean Obama. In our new NBC Wall Street Journal Marist polls, the president is now up outside the margin of error, 8 points, 50 to 42, matching what we had been hearing on the ground there for some time. In Colorado, the president has a smaller lead, but it's still substantial in that he hits 50 to 45. And in Wisconsin, the president's also up by 5 points, 50 to 45. Joining me now, Lee Mehringhoff, director of the Marist poll. And Lee, probably the biggest thing that jumped out, we were in the field in the middle of the kerfuffle on 47%. And it seemed to me we did see some evidence in the Mitt Romney unfavorable ratings. Walk me through them.
Well, in all three states, and this wasn't the case last week, in all three states that we've done now, these three battleground states, his favorable and unfavorable is upside down. So he has more negatives than positives. That's not a good thing. Clearly, if you're challenging an incumbent whose favorability is over 50 in all three states as well. So, Romney clearly taking a hit for a lot of things, right, not the least of which is the 47% comment.
All right, I want to go through each state very quickly and one big nugget that we got out of it. In Colorado, the president over 70% among Latino voters. you did a look at sort of the white versus non-white vote in Colorado, a big shift.
Yeah, and that's, look, it's among non-whites, among Latinos. That's his margin. If it was just among white voters, that would be a problem for Obama in Iowa. But when you mix in the Latino numbers into this, well, that's really the margin for him in this state. And he's opened up, as you say, a fairly noteworthy advantage in this state.
All three states show double-digit gender gaps, but Iowa, the biggest one, 18 points.
Yeah, and he's got double-digit gender gap in the president's favor in each of these three states, huge in Iowa, and he's only having a single-digit deficit among men in each of these three states. So in a sense, the difference is, dare I say, the gender gap again.
And I want to move to Wisconsin. We did see Paul Ryan almost as high of favorable ratings as the president. That's the good news for the Republican ticket. And what can you tell me about, you looked at it via all the congressional districts. What can you tell me about how they're doing in Ryan's congressional district?
Well, actually, that is a district right now that Romney is carrying, not by double digits, but I think it's around 8 points. So there is a Ryan effect, but it's not offsetting what is a 5-point edge statewide for Obama. Look, Obama carried the state by 14 percentage points last time. He's got it by 5 this time. It's not doing nearly as well, but it's enough to certainly have the state at least close or tipping his way.
And one final point in what appears to be a mirror image that we found in the national poll, the NBC Wall Street Journal national poll, the president and Romney on the economy in all three of these states. Does Romney lead them in any of the three states on the economy?
Pretty much fighting to a draw on the key issue for the Romney campaign. So we're seeing a fairly even numbers, all within the margin of error. And in fact, numerically in Iowa, Obama's actually ahead on the economy. So you've got the economy fighting to a draw, and then foreign policy, Obama's really trumping Romney. So in a sense, that's where we are right now at a time where Obama is at 50% in the toss-up in all three of these states. That's the difference.
Right. Lee Meringoff, director of the Marist poll. We'll see you next week when we got 3 more coming out. Finally, in First Read today, we go to the 2 big debates yesterday in what may be the most watched Senate races in the country, Massachusetts and Virginia. Polling just keeps coming out of Massachusetts. Democrat Elizabeth Warren has had small lead in 3 out of 4 recent polls. The 4th gave the edge to Republican Senator Scott Brown. Last night, the 2 squared off in their first Senate debate. Brown played up his regular guy roots, arriving at the debate in his trademark green pickup truck, and attacked Warren on character.
Professor Warren claimed that she was a Native American, a person of color, and as you can see, she's not. That being said, she checked the box.
I believed my mother and my father and my aunts and my uncles, and I never asked anybody for any documentation. I don't know any kid who did.
While Warren did her best to saddle Brown with the Republican brand, Brown did everything he could to persuade voters he wasn't really a Republican, or at least a moderate.
This really may be a race for control of the Senate, and the Supreme Court may very well hang in the balance.
Listen, I'm the second most bipartisan in the United States Senate. I was recently named by Washingtonian magazine as the least partisan senator.
Senator Brown is someone who voted in his only chance he's had against a pro-choice woman.
We are both pro-choice. We both support Roe v. Wade.
It's not just about Senator Brown's vote. This is about the votes of all of the Republicans. Jim Inhofe, the senator, would become the person who would have supervision over the Environmental Protection Agency.
You're not running against Jim Inhofe. You're running against me, Professor.
There were more Jim Inhofe references in that debate than even Mitt Romney references. Anyway, moving on to Virginia, another race where four polls in the last 2 weeks have it the race razor tight. Fiscal issues dominated a debate that was moderated by NBC's David Gregory, who pressed both candidates to respond to Romney's remarks, disparaging 47% of households that pay no federal income tax.
You think nearly half the country see themselves as victims because they're too
No, I don't.
dependent?
I see people. I look very positively at the people of
So you would
Virginia
part company
and
with
America.
Governor Romney on this point?
Excuse me?
Would you disagree with Governor Romney on this point?
I have my own point of view, and my point of view is the people of America still believe in the American dream.
Do you believe that everyone in Virginia should pay something in federal income tax?
Well, everyone pays taxes. I mean, the statistics that have come out.
I'm asking about federal income tax.
I would be open to a proposal that would have some minimum tax level for everyone. But I do insist, many of the 47% that Governor Romney was going after pay a higher percentage of their income in taxes than he does.